We had just gotten him back, folks. Ugh, we're down 2 first-round running backs. Welcome to Week 10 Injury Update. We are going to run through all the injuries of note for your fantasy football matchups. And woof, as these weeks get longer, so do the injury lists. So, let's go Philadelphia Eagles at Giants. Eagles, Miles Sanders should play, which is a big ding to Boston Scott. Alshon Jeffrey also should be playing this week. Travis Fulgham, still a starter for me, but Boston Scott, out of the lineup. Get Miles Sanders in there if you've got him and run him out there. So Giants, Devonta Freeman is out and Golden Tate is in a very public kind of tit for tat with the Giants organization. It's not like you were relying on Devonta Freeman, but if he's on your roster, welcome to Dumpsville. Get rid of him. Golden Tate, also, welcome to Dumpsville. Get rid of him. Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. Those are the only two wide receivers on this team that have any value. And even at that, they're very, very low value receivers. They're at their peak wide receiver twos, and usually that 3-4 range. Jacksonville at Green Bay. We got a lot of injuries for the Jags this week. I mean, Laviska Shenault out. Gardner Minshew out. Devin Ozigbo out. Not like you were really relying on him, but then there are quite a few defensive injuries as well for the Jags. But what we saw is that DJ Chark has more value in that first game than he did with Gardner Minshew. I think Minshew mania is over. If he was your quarterback that you were relying on, I think that what the Jags are saying is, we don't want to miss the Trevor show, so let us out. Let us just lose. Let's lose with dignity, but we'll show DJ Chark a lot of targets. So Chark's in your lineups no matter what, and James Robinson is as well, but that's pretty much it. Laviska Shenault, I think he's a drop now. Packers, for the most part, they're healthy, but Equanimeous St. Brown and Robert Tonyan are both on the questionable list. I think Tanyan's going to play, but that doesn't mean you should play him. This is not a tight end friendly game. Washington football team at Lions. Man. Kenny Golladay is out. TJ Hawkinson is questionable. Jamal Agnew, questionable. This is another one of those games, and it's just, like, one, it's a bad game, but two, the Washington defense has been relatively stout. I don't know how you're excited about any of these players. Swift, I don't think he's going to be able to just run over him like we hope. And then on the football team side, Kyle Allen's out, Dontrell Inman's out. I mean, it is a great story. Having their quarterback come back after so many years is a great story. But there's Alex Smith's actual fantasy value is pretty low. I'm not like just banging down the doors to get me some of that. Gibson is, I mean, you're going to start him this week because the Lions aren't very good. But it's like neither of these squads are super exciting. Texans at Browns. This should be something where there's a lot of points scored. David Johnson is out with a concussion, but everybody else should be going. On the Browns side, Nick Chubb's back. I think we're back to seeing both Chubb and Hunt being fantasy starters. It's not like I'm sitting Hunt this week. The Texans are bad. Their 2 wins are against the Jags. Don't forget that. Deshaun Watson, sure, he may have a buttload of yards, but this is not a good team. So don't get fooled. Bucks at Panthers, this is going to be a game. I mean, so for the Buccaneers, we have some defensive injuries, but for the most part, they're going to be healthy. you have to remember Godwin still has that broken finger, but he's going to be playing. Antonio Brown is a little dinged up, but he'll be playing as well. But on the other side, Christian McCaffrey, guys. Christian McCaffrey. He was just back. We had just seen a 30-point game from him, and now he's out. Don't get too bummed because he will be back for the Fantasy 2020 season, but this makes Mike Davis a must-start this week. All right. LA Chargers at Dolphins. What we've got here, the Chargers are banged up. What else is new? This organization is always plagued by injury. It is truly just absolutely shocking. The number of injuries that this team has. I don't understand why they always are so injured, but Joey Bosa is out. Justin Jackson is out. Tremaine Pope is a questionable designation. What this means is Joshua Kelly's going to get run. He's going to be a fantasy relevant player. The Dolphins defense is better than everyone thinks, but he still should be a starter. For the Dolphins, Matt Breida is questionable. Obviously, we've got the IR folks, and we've got Preston Williams now out for the year. Tua's weapons are kind of limited. Jordan Howard isn't exciting. It's gonna be one of those things where I think we see a slight uptick for Gesicki and obviously Devontae Parker. But this could be a game where I know the Dolphins are riding high off that win, but I think this is a game where they might come back down to earth. Broncos at Raiders. The Broncos are just absolutely always in fantasy shambles because of their injuries. Jerry Jeudy is hurt. We've got Bryce Callahan. We've got Jake Rogers. We've got Deontay Spencer, DeMar Dustin. I mean, listen, there's always going to be a lot of injuries. Like, this is just, they're just hurt. But Drew Lock has kind of shown a little bit of the last 3 weeks that he could be a fantasy star. Tim Patrick is off the injury report, so he could have a week. And it's not like the Raiders defense scares you. The Raiders are just an okay team. Sure, they beat the Chiefs. Sure, they've won a couple of close games, but that doesn't mean they're good. So don't get that in your head. Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr, they're starters this week. Darren Waller, obviously. But none of the wide receivers are of particular interest to me right now. Bills at Cardinals. This is going to be a game. You should go look at it because neither of these defense can stop anything. It's terrible. Like, I don't know what happened for the Bills defense, but it is just garbage now. So we've got just some more defensive injuries, which means that you're rolling out your normal folks. Zach Moss is the running back that I like the most here. I'm starting Smokey John Brown and Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. I'm not starting any of the tight ends. I am looking to get out of the Josh Allen business. I think that his late season push is going to be a little harder. I would be looking, I'm more of a fan of Tannehill. I'm more of a fan of Herbert. There are some of these other fantasy starters that I would be looking for over Josh Allen if I could get an extra piece. So just food for thought. On the Cardinals side, we've got Kenyon Drake questionable, and then every single defensive player, it seems like, but they're pretty beat up. The Cardinals are pretty beat up. I would say this is probably another Chase Edmonds game. Give Kenyon Drake another week. I don't know if Kenyon Drake ever gets back to that value that we had preseason. I think that he has shown that he is not a bell cow back, which is really unfortunate. San Francisco at New Orleans. All right. So, listen. 49ers, Tevin Coleman, Deebo Samuel, Kwan Williams, they're all out. Trent Taylor, River Carcraft, they're questionable. That doesn't even, mention all the folks on IR. These are one of those 3 teams that barely has anybody to start. Nick Mullins is not a fantasy starter to me. Even, in any world, I'm getting away from any of these 49ers. I just, who are you going to start that's out there? George Kittle's on IR. Like, this team is in shambles. That is an L on their record. And they're coming back against the healthiest the Saints have been all year. Mike Thomas is in. Like, we've got Drew Brees kind of humming. Alvin Kamara is a stud. This is going to be a blowout. So, sorry, 49ers. This isn't your week. Seattle at Rams. So, we have Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, both on the injury report, but I think that Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson are, I think Carlos Hyde's less likely to play, but Chris Carson, I think, is a real shot to play this week. Let's be watching that injury report. Watch the comments in this video. If I get an update, I'll update it there. On the Rams, no fantasy injuries of note. This Rams team has really been kind of bad these last couple of weeks. They may squeeze out a win here or there, but I'm just not excited about them. Bengals at Steelers. Oofda. All right, Joe Mixon is doubtful. What does that mean? He's not playing, guys. Gio Bernard. But you shouldn't even start Gio Bernard. This is not the week. The Steelers, I know that their defense hasn't been quite as good as it was in the beginning of the year, but they are still a good defense. Don't mess around. Don't waste your fantasy assets here. Get away from them. Tyler Boyd is probably the only, I guess maybe T. Higgins. Those two are the only two fantasy starters on this team. The Steelers, you're rolling them out. The Bengals defense is nothing. It shouldn't be close. Get everybody in your lineup. Go get them. Baltimore Ravens at Patriots. All right. The Ravens are not the team that we all hoped they would be at this point in time in the season, but they are still a top third team. And you know what the Patriots are? The Patriots barely squeaked out a win versus the Jets, folks. The Jets. The Jets suck. Just one step above. All right? You're not starting any Patriot, and you're starting the typical Ravens. But you're not excited about this game. Mark Ingram is, he's questionable. He's not going to play. And even if he does, Gus Edwards, are you going, none of this three-headed backfield crap is going to do. So get away from this game. Don't waste your time on either side of the ball, with the exception of Lamar Jackson and maybe Hollywood Brown. Those are the two. And Mark Andrews. All right, 3. We got 3 players out of this whole game. That's it. Damian Harris, Cam Newton, none of them. Get away. This is our Week 10 injury report. Man, I'm exhausted. Have a good one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.